Ministers.
Thank you, Chairman. As a businessman, I'm quite amazed that we don't have a far more comprehensive view of the effect of the UK leaving with no deal on the 31st of October. It's probably 50-50 as to whether that's the case. When I met with Mr. Barnier in Strasbourg last week, I said I wouldn't sign his treaty, as he calls it, if I lost to him in a war. So I think it's actually very probable that we will leave without a deal. And really, as a businessman, I would have expected to see that the Parliament having two, or the EU having two budgets, one if we stay and one if we go. And really, Mr. Barnier should know the effects of us leaving. If we leave with no deal, it will take a huge hole out of the budget of the operation of the whole of the European Union. So I'm amazed that we don't have the information to hand. It should be to hand and should be there for all of us to see, because if we leave with no deal, everybody else is going to have to pay substantially more money. The other point I'd like to make is that given the economic outlook in Europe, which is deteriorating every day, surely, as a body, shouldn't we be looking to make cuts rather than to increase our overall cost base? That seems to me the right thing for all of our constituents throughout the European Union, particularly given that the euro is grinding many of them into poverty. So I know looking forward you're proposing to close the gap with various taxes on plastics and other things. But looking at this year, really, honestly, we need two budgets. One if we leave with no deal, and one if we're prepared to continue to pay. And the proposals I've seen here represent to me a case of the EU expecting to have their cake and eat it. They still expect us to pay. We're not represented at all the committees. Effectively, we are being treated as a vassal state. So I really think we need some economic reality brought to this, and as a body, I suggest that we actually get our mind around it pretty quickly.
Thank you. Mr. Howard.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have heard so much nonsense from the Brexit Party since they were recently elected to this place, that the Brexit Party's nonsense is the sort of thing that the UK is now drowning in. This is not about the future budget of the European Union. This is about enabling British institutions that are partner institutions in European programmes to continue participating in those programmes through to the end of 2020 if the British government decides that that's what the British government wishes to do if Britain leaves the European Union without a deal on the 31st of October, which I sincerely hope it does not. The net effect of leaving without a deal and not opting back into the budget, as would be the British government's choice, which is hardly the position of a vassal state, would enable British universities to continue undisrupted within the European research programmes that they are part of, which would enable the organisation I visited yesterday in Brighton that makes British films with funding from the European Union and trains people in the British creative industries to continue benefiting from the Creative Europe programme, to enable payments to British farmers to continue undisrupted. And of course it would enable the partners within the European Union to continue their participation in those programmes, and those collaborative programmes benefit everyone. This is about ensuring that there is a proper transition without disruption. This is about ensuring that the commitments that the British state made continue and are met. And that will put the British state in a better position to build a future relationship with the European Union. And if these fools really care about their country, they will drop this idiotic rhetoric and come to a sensible arrangement for their country and the European Union. Thank you.